You're smiling at the camera when it happens. Not the polite smile you've learned to wear for sponsors or donors or the comment section, but the real one. The one that sneaks up on you when she does something small and perfect, when her ears tilt just right, when her tail taps twice against the concrete floor like punctuation. The live stream counter ticks upward in the corner of your phone. 38,412 watching. She sits beside you, impossibly still, her freshly brushed coat catching the late afternoon light spilling through the warehouse windows. The old building smells like disinfectant and sawdust and the faint sweetness of dog treats crushed into the cracks of the floor. You kneel, one hand resting lightly on her back, feeling the steady warmth beneath her fur. "Okay," you say, voice calm, practiced. "We're going to do a few questions before we head out." Her eyes flick to the camera, then back to you. She always knows when you're about to leave. Comments scroll too fast to read. "Angel, Queen, she saved my life. Look how healthy she is now." You nod along, answering questions you've answered 100 times. Where you found her. How long it took for her to trust you. Whether she still sleeps curled against your ribs at night. You don't mention the parts that don't fit the narrative. You don't mention how she sometimes stares at doors like they've offended her, or how she flinches at certain whistles, or how, every once in a while, she smells the air and freezes like the world has whispered something only she can hear. You reach for her collar to adjust it for the camera. The custom leather, soft as skin, her name stamped in gold. A brand partnership sent it for free. Your fingers brush the buckle. She moves. Not fast, not panicked, just deliberate. She steps out from under your hand. The comments explode. "What's she doing?" "Mao." Dramatic queen. "Is this a trick?" You laugh reflexively, already shaping the moment into content. "She's fine," you say. She walks past the ring light, past the camera, toward the open loading door at the far end of the warehouse. The sound hits you first, her tags, that soft, familiar clink that has followed you everywhere for 2 years. Then silence. You stand. "Hey," you call, still smiling, still casual. "Come back here." She pauses at the threshold. Light frames her body, turning her into a dark cutout against the gold of the setting sun. Wind lifts the fur along her spine. She looks smaller like this, less like the dog on posters and more like the one you first saw, thin, alert, balanced on the edge of flight. She turns her head and looks directly at you. Not the camera, you! There's no fear in her eyes, no confusion, just something settled, something finished. Your chest tightens in a way you don't recognize. "Hey," you say again, softer now. You take a step forward. "We're not done yet." She wags her tail once, then she walks out. The live stream timer keeps counting. People think it's part of the show. You don't. You run. Outside, the air smells like hot asphalt and rust. Traffic roars somewhere beyond the chain link fence. You spin in a slow circle, heart thudding, scanning shadows and alleys in the strip of road leading away from the warehouse. "She's trained," someone comments. "She'll come back. This is staged, right? You jog to the gate, push it open, step into the street. Nothing." Her shape is already gone, absorbed into the city like a drop of water on concrete. Your phone buzzes in your hand. The live stream is still going. You don't end it. You can't seem to remember how. You search for hours. You call her name until your voice roughens and strangers stare. You check behind dumpsters, under parked cars, along the canal where trash floats like memories nobody wants. You follow instincts you didn't know you had, turning left instead of right, doubling back, pausing when something feels wrong. Night falls, the city changes, bars fill, neon flickers, sirens stitch the air together. You walk until your legs shake and your thoughts turn brittle, until the streetlights smear into long yellow lines. She doesn't answer. You go home alone. Her bowl is still full. Her bed is still warm. You sit on the floor and wait. By morning, the disappearance has gone viral. Clips of the live stream loop endlessly online, slowed down, zoomed in, analyzed frame by frame. People speculate, argue, accuse. You let her escape. She was stressed. Fame changes animals. You issue statements you don't believe in. You print flyers that feel useless the moment the ink dries. Volunteers comb neighborhoods with flashlights and hope. Days pass, then weeks. Someone swears they saw her near the old rail yard. Someone else sends a blurry photo that could be any small dog with the right coloring. You chase every lead until your world shrinks to streets and screens in the hollow space where she used to be. At night, you replay that last look, not the leaving, the certainty. 3 months later, you're sitting in a cafe you don't remember choosing when a notification lights up your phone. Not a comment, not a donation, a message, no profile photo, no name you recognize, just a single image. It takes a moment for your brain to understand what you're seeing. A dog, smaller than you remember, dirt streaked along her legs. Fur grown uneven, clumped where grooming once kept it smooth. No collar, but those eyes. The photo is taken at dawn, pale light. a stretch of cracked pavement, a rusted sign behind her half collapsed, written in 2 languages. She's mid-stride, running toward something you can't see. Your hands go numb around the phone. You zoom in on the sign, on the symbol beneath the words, a line, broken, a border marker. Your breath stutters, not fear, not relief, but something colder, sharper, understanding just beginning to form. She didn't get lost, she left. You don't sleep. You lie on your back, staring at the ceiling while the city outside exhales in waves, cars passing, a distant shout, the hum of electricity running through walls that suddenly feel too thin. The phone rests on your chest, screen dark now, but the image burned behind your eyes. Her, running toward something she chose. At some point near dawn, you sit up. The apartment feels wrong without her, too orderly, too quiet. You notice things you trained yourself not to notice when she was there. The way the floor creaks near the kitchen, the faint smell of detergent clinging to the couch, the empty space beside your bed where she used to curl into a shape that somehow took up more room than physics allowed. You open the photo again. Zoom in further. The border sign is old, paint flaking, bullet-pocked in places. This isn't a place tourists cross. It's the kind of line drawn on maps that reality has mostly erased. No booth, no guards, just a scar through land that people and animals have been ignoring for years. She looks different. Not scared, not desperate, purposeful. Your fingers hover over the screen as if you might feel warmth through the glass. You whisper her name. Nothing answers. By mid-morning, the internet has already decided what the photo means. She escaped abuse. This proves rescue culture is fake. She was never happy. Think pieces bloom like mold. Influencers react. Hashtags fracture into sides. You're tagged in everything, praised, condemned, dissected by people who have never smelled her fur after rain or felt the weight of her head settle against her ankle at night. You don't read most of it. You follow the metadata. The message account disappears before you can reply, but the image gives you enough. Time, coordinates, rough but usable. A stretch of land hours away, edging into another country. A border zone. Your hands hesitate over the keyboard. This isn't part of the plan you had for your life. The plan involved rebuilding trust, not unraveling it. It involved staying put, not chasing a dog across lines governments argue over. But the memory surfaces uninvited. The first night you brought her home. She refused the bed you bought. Padded, expensive, approved by a vet who smiled too much. Instead, she slept pressed against the door, nose pointed toward the gap beneath it, muscles taut even in rest, like she was listening for footsteps that never came. You told yourself it was habit. You didn't ask what she was guarding against or who. You pack light, too light, a backpack, cash, your passport, pulled from a drawer that smells faintly of paper and neglect. You pause at her leash hanging by the door. Fingers brush the worn handle. You leave it where it is. This isn't about bringing her back. Not yet. You lock the apartment and step into a morning that feels like it's holding its breath. The road unspools beneath your tires in long gray ribbons. City gives way to outskirts. Outskirts thin into stretches of land that feel unfinished, half-built structures, fields interrupted by wire fences, gas stations with flickering signs that haven't been updated since borders mattered more. The radio crackles. You turn it off. Silence suits this. Every mile pulls at you in ways you don't have language for. Part of you hopes you won't find her. That this will end as a mystery you can frame and explain away. Another part quieter, heavier, knows better. You stop at a roadside cafe near the coordinates. The place smells like burnt coffee and oil. A bell rings when you open the door. The woman behind the counter eyes you with practiced indifference. You order something you don't taste. When you show her the photo, her expression shifts. Not surprise. Recognition. She's been around, the woman says, wiping her hands on a towel. Her accent bends the words gently. Not alone. Your spine stiffens. Where? You ask. The woman gestures vaguely toward the horizon. Old road, near the crossing that isn't a crossing anymore. Does she belong to someone? The woman snorts. She belongs to herself. You step back outside with your pulse thudding unevenly. The air here is different, drier, threaded with dust and wild grass. Somewhere in the distance, dogs bark, not the sharp, territorial kind. Something looser, communal. You drive slower now. You start to notice things. Scraps of food placed deliberately near the roadside. Chalk markings on walls, simple symbols repeated, like someone trying to say safe without using words. You see paw prints in the dirt that crisscross the road, moving together, not scattered. A memory clicks into place, the way she used to eat last. Always last. You thought it was training, manners, gratitude. Now it feels like something else. You park near what used to be a checkpoint. The booth is gutted, windows smashed, the flag long gone. Weeds push through asphalt cracks like they've been waiting years for permission. The line itself is barely visible, a faded stripe, half swallowed by dust. You step out. The silence here isn't empty, it's layered. Wind through tall grass, insects ticking, the distant sound of movement you can't quite place. You walk. Each step forward feels like crossing something internal, an agreement you didn't know you were breaking. On the far side, the land slopes gently downward into a shallow valley. And there, near a cluster of abandoned vehicles rusting into the earth, you see motion. Dogs, not one, many. They move as a unit, weaving between metal skeletons and scrub. Some are scarred, some thin. Some carry themselves with the casual confidence of animals who know exactly where their next meal is coming from. And in the middle, she stops, lifts her head, looks straight at you. Time does something strange. You don't call out, you don't move. She steadies you the way she did that last afternoon. Not wary, not guilty, just measuring. Then she turns back to the others. They gather around her, brushing flanks, exchanging sniffs that look less like greeting and more like reporting in. One limps. Another is pregnant, belly low and heavy. A third nudges a scrap of bread toward her with surprising gentleness. She eats last. Your throat burns. You crouch behind the shell of a car, heart hammering so hard it feels like it might give you away. You watch as people approach the valley's edge. Locals mostly. A man sets down a bag of rice. A woman leaves a bowl of water. A child tosses a piece of meat, laughing when the dogs dance back, careful not to crowd him. And her. She steps forward when it's time, not begging, just present. People smile when they see her. Some recognize her. You hear her name spoken softly, like a secret being passed hand to hand. The dogs eat. She waits. When it's done, she circles once, twice, then settles beside the pregnant one, pressing her body close, sharing warmth as the sun lifts higher. Understanding lands in you with a weight that steals air from your lungs. She didn't cross the border to run away. She crossed it to go back. To something she left unfinished, to a family that never stopped needing her. You press your forehead against cold metal and let the truth seep in, slow and merciless. Her fame wasn't freedom, it was funding. And you were never the end of her story. You were the detour. You don't approach her. Not because you're afraid she'll run, but because something in her posture says she already accounted for this moment. Like a chess player who moved a piece weeks ago, knowing exactly where you'd be standing now. You stay behind the rusted car shell, knees bent, gravel biting through the fabric of your jeans. The metal smells like sun-warmed iron and old oil. Flies buzz lazily, unbothered by the quiet arrangement unfolding in the valley. She doesn't look back again. That hurts more than you expect. The dogs settle into patterns that feel practiced. One stations himself near the road. Another drifts toward the scrub at the far edge, nose low, ears swiveling. The pregnant one lowers herself with a groan that sounds almost human. Your dog, no, not yours, moves between them, checking, nudging, correcting spacing with subtle shifts of her body. Leadership without noise. You think of training sessions under bright lights, treats held just out of reach, commands spoken clearly, firmly, rewarded with applause when she performed exactly as expected. Here, no one is watching, except you. Time stretches. The locals come and go, careful not to linger. No one tries to touch her. They speak softly, if at all. Respect moves through the space like an unspoken agreement. A man in a faded jacket pauses when he sees you crouched there. You lost? He asks, not unkindly. You shake your head. The motion feels heavier than it should. I'm looking for a dog. He follows your gaze. His mouth curves into something close to a smile. Ah, that single sound carries understanding you don't deserve. She's good for them, he says. Brings food, keeps them together. People trust her. Why, you ask. Your voice comes out rough like it's been scraped thin. He shrugs. Because she looks like she belongs everywhere. You flinch. The man leaves a sack near the edge of the valley rice again and walks away without another glance. You watch as she signals the others forward. A brief lift of her head, a step back. The pack moves as one. She eats last. Again, your chest aches with the accumulation of small truths, the ones you ignored because they complicated the story you were telling the world. You remember the sponsorship meeting where someone joked that she was too street for certain brands. You remember agreeing to a grooming regimen that stripped her coat of its rough edges, turned her into something glossy and safe. You remember how she tolerated it, still, compliant, but wouldn't look at you afterward. You thought it was exhaustion. Now you wonder if it was grief. The sun climbs higher. Heat presses down, heavy and insistent. The dogs retreat toward shade, settling near the husk of an old bus ticked on its side. She disappears inside it for a moment, then emerges carrying something in her mouth. A shoe! Worn. Child-sized. She drops it near the pregnant dog, who sniffs it, then relaxes. Your stomach twists. You've seen this before, not with her, but online. Stories from places people don't like to think about. Dogs collecting objects. Familiar scents. Anchors. She's not just leading, she's providing. You shift your weight. Gravel crunches. Her head snaps up. This time, she looks directly at you. The distance between you feels immense, even though it's only a dozen yards. Her eyes search your face, not for permission, not for forgiveness, but for intent. You stay still. Slowly, deliberately, you sit down on the ground. You let your hands rest open on your knees. You lower your gaze just enough to say, "I see you," without challenging what she's built here. She watches for a long moment, then she turns away again. Your lungs loosen, just slightly. You don't know how long you stay there. Long enough for the heat to fade into late afternoon, long enough for shadows to stretch and pull the valley into deeper relief, long enough for you to understand that this isn't a visit, it's a system, and you are not part of it. When the pack begins to move, you follow at a distance. They travel along paths that aren't paths, just faint lines pressed into earth by repetition. They stop where the land dips and water collects, where discarded food appears as if by magic, where danger thins. She never checks to see if you're still there. She doesn't have to. At dusk, they reach a cluster of half-standing buildings, concrete walls without roofs, doorways that lead nowhere. A place that once held people and now holds memory. The dogs fan out. Settle! She disappears inside one of the structures. You hesitate. This is the moment you'll regret, you think, one way or another. You approach slowly, footsteps careful. The interior smells of dust and old smoke. Light slants through broken openings, painting the floor in uneven gold. She stands near the back wall. Between her and the shadows behind her, three smaller shapes shift. Puppies, not newborns, old enough to wobble, to see. Their fur is patchy, their bellies round. One squeaks when it loses balance and topples into another. Your throat closes. She steps slightly to the side, allowing you to see them clearly. Then she blocks the view again. The message is unmistakable. This is why. You swallow. Nod once, even though she isn't looking. "I didn't know," you whisper. She doesn't respond, but she doesn't leave. Night falls fast here. The temperature drops. Sounds sharpen. Somewhere beyond the ruins, something howls, a long, searching note that raises the hair along your arms. The pack responds in pieces, voices overlapping, weaving reassurance through the dark. She stays silent. You sit just inside the doorway, close enough to feel the cool air shift when she moves. You don't reach out. You don't speak again. You watch as she curls around the puppies, tucking them close with a care that feels ancient. The pregnant dog settles nearby. Others take positions that form a loose perimeter. Protection arranged without command. Your phone vibrates in your pocket. You ignore it. Later, much later, when sleep threatens to pull you under despite the ground's hardness, she lifts her head and looks at you again. This time, she holds your gaze. There's no accusation there, just acknowledgement. You realize then that she knew you would come. That her leaving mid-livestream wasn't an accident of impulse, but a calculated choice that accounted for who you are and what you do. She trusted you to follow. She trusted you to see, but not to fix. Your chest tightens around a truth you don't want. This wasn't abandonment. It was delegation. She used the world you gave her to sustain the world she couldn't leave behind. And now that you're here, you don't know what your role is supposed to be. As if sensing the question, she lowers her head back to the puppies and closes her eyes. The conversation is over. For tonight. Morning doesn't arrive gently. It snaps into existence with cold air and the sound of movement, paws shifting on concrete, a low rumble of passing trucks somewhere far beyond the ruins. Your body protests when you sit up. The ground has pressed its language into your bones, reminding you that you are not built for this kind of sleep. She's already awake. She stands at the edge of the structure, silhouette sharp against the pale light. One ear flicks as a dog passes behind her. The puppies are gone, tucked deeper into shadows you can't see from here. The pregnant dog stretches slowly, joints popping, then lowers her head to sniff the ground where you slept. You hold still. The woman from the cafe appears at the edge of the ruins, carrying a plastic container that sloshes softly. She stops when she sees you. "So," she says, "you found her." You nod. She approaches cautiously, eyes never leaving the dog. She doesn't like strangers getting too close. "I noticed," you say. The woman sets the container down. "Water, clean." The dogs wait until she steps back. Then they drink in turns, no pushing, no snapping. "People come looking for her sometimes," the woman continues. "Journalists, aid workers, once a man with a van." Your stomach tightens. "What happened?" "She hid," the woman says simply. The others hid too. Didn't see her for 3 days after that. Your gaze drifts to the dog beside the doorway. Her body is relaxed, but you recognize the readiness there, the stored energy, the exit routes mapped and memorized. "She's careful," the woman adds, "because she has to be." You spend the day watching, not intruding, not helping. Just observing the shape of a life you never imagined for her. She patrols the perimeter twice before noon, breaks up a minor scuffle between two younger dogs with a single, well-timed bark. leads the pack to a drainage ditch where water collects beneath shade. When a stranger approaches too quickly, she positions herself between them and the rest, not aggressive, just immovable. People respond to her presence instinctively. They slow down, lower their voices, offer food without being asked. She has learned how humans work here, and she uses it. By afternoon, the heat settles like a hand on the back of your neck. Sweat trickles down your spine. You notice how the dogs manage it, resting when they need to, moving when it matters, never wasting energy. She doesn't come near you, not once. That hurts in a way you didn't prepare for. Your phone buzzes again. This time, you look. Missed calls, messages stacked like accusations, a notification from your manager, from a brand partner, from someone using your dog's face as their profile picture. Where are you? We need to address this. People are worried. You turn the phone face down. The woman watches you do it. You can't stay long, she says, not a question. No, you admit, she nods. Good. The word lands harder than you expect. Why, you ask? Because if you do, she says, you'll want to change things. You think of the puppies, the pregnant dog, the way she eats last, the way she watches roads. I already want to, you say. The woman smiles sadly. Then you understand the danger. Late afternoon brings trouble. It arrives on 4 wheels, rattling, loud. A truck pulls up near the ruins, dust billowing. 2 men get out. One points, the other laughs. The dogs react instantly. She moves, not toward the truck, away from it. A sharp bark, a head toss. The pack shifts, flowing backward like water, melting into ruins and scrub and shadow. You freeze. The men don't notice at first. They argue about something, voices rising. One kicks a loose stone. It skitters across concrete, echoes too loud. Your pulse spikes. This is the moment where you expect her to look at you. She doesn't. She has already disappeared. The realization hits you with cold clarity. She didn't bring you here for protection. You brought danger with you. The men wander closer, eyes scanning. One spots you. Hey, he calls. You camping? Your mouth opens. Nothing comes out. The woman steps forward smoothly. Private land, she says. You should go. They hesitate. Weigh the effort, one shrugs. Not worth it. They leave as abruptly as they came. Only when the sound of the engine fades do the dogs reappear, one by one, materializing from hiding places you never saw. She emerges last. She looks at you then, and something sharp flashes behind her eyes. Not anger. Assessment. That night, the woman brings food again. So do 2 others you haven't seen before. The dogs eat. The puppies nurse. Life resumes its quiet, stubborn rhythm. You sit apart, hands clasped, thoughts spinning. You replay the moment over and over, the way the pack vanished, the way she prioritized concealment over confrontation, the way your presence complicated an equation she spent months, maybe years, perfecting. The truth settles heavy in your chest. You are not neutral here. You are a variable she cannot afford. When the moon climbs high, you finally move. You stand slowly, deliberately, making sure she sees you. She lifts her head, ears forward. You stop a few feet away. You don't reach for her. I'm sorry, you say quietly. The words feel inadequate, but they're all you have. You crouch and set something on the ground between you. Your phone, screen on, open to the live stream app. Her image fills it, polished, bright, adored. Comments scroll endlessly beneath. You slide the phone closer to her with 2 fingers. I can stop this, you say. I can tell them the truth. I can make it quieter. She steps forward, sniffs the phone, looks at the screen, then she looks at you. For a long moment, neither of you moves. Then, gently, she places one paw on the phone. The screen goes dark. She withdraws her paw, turns away. The message is clear. Silence was never the problem. Exposure was. You swallow hard. I don't know how to help without hurting you, you admit. She pauses. Glances back once. Her eyes flick. Not to the phone, not to you, but to the road. Then she disappears into shadow again. You sit there long after, understanding inching its way through resistance. This isn't about rescue. It's about restraint. You leave before sunrise, not because anyone tells you to, but because staying any longer feels like pressing your thumb against the scale that's finally balanced. You move quietly, packing the few things you brought, careful not to wake what little still sleeps. The ruins breathe around you, cool air slipping through broken walls, carrying the low murmur of dogs shifting in half dreams. She watches from a distance. You feel it before you see her, that familiar awareness crawling up your spine. You turn your head just enough to confirm it, her shape outlined near the road, still as a cutout, eyes reflecting the thin blue of early morning. You don't approach. You nod once. It's all she gives you in return. The drive back feels longer. Every mile stretches, warped by the weight of what you now carry. You replay scenes you didn't record, the way the pack moved like a single organism, the puppies breathing against her ribs, the practiced generosity of strangers who never asked for credit. You realize something then. The internet would destroy this place in a week. Good intentions alone would do it. Rescue caravans, cameras, donations with strings attached, people who need proof of suffering to justify help. You grip the steering wheel tighter. The lie forms before you reach the city. By the time you pull into your apartment's parking lot, the story is already waiting for you. A crisis team has drafted statements. Your manager leaves a voicemail that swings between concern and calculation. A brand rep texts a heart emoji followed by, "We're here for you." You don't go inside right away. You sit in the car, forehead pressed to the wheel, and decide which version of yourself you're about to become. The press conference is small but dense. Cameras crowd close, lenses glassy and hungry. You stand at the podium they set up too quickly, lights hot against your skin. Someone hands you water. "You don't drink it!" She was overwhelmed, you hear yourself say. Your voice sounds steady. "Professional! We believe the sudden attention may have caused distress." Heads nod. Questions fly. Do you think rescue culture failed her? Was she exploited? Will you continue working with animals? You answer carefully. You never say where she is. You never say why she left. You frame it as loss, as tragedy, as something unfinished. The world eats it up. Online, the narrative crystallizes. Fame broke her. Another lesson learned. We loved her too hard. Donations spike. You reroute them. Quietly. Small amounts at first. Spread thin. Directed toward border towns, community kitchens, veterinary pop-ups that don't ask questions. You avoid names, avoid keywords, avoid anything traceable back to her. You become very good at moving money without leaving fingerprints. At night, you sit on the floor of your apartment and count breaths until sleep finds you. Sometimes you dream of running, of crossing lines that dissolve under your feet the moment you step on them. You wake with your heart racing and no dog beside you. Weeks pass, then months. The public moves on as it always does. New rescues, new scandals. Her image fades from feeds, preserved only in compilations and remember when posts. You keep your promise. You never post her again. But you listen. You cultivate contacts without faces. Cafe owners, drivers, aid workers who understand discretion. Through them, fragments reach you. A small dog that organizes others. A pack that's unusually calm. People feel safer feeding them. You never ask for pictures. You don't need them. One evening, nearly a year after she left, you receive a message from an unknown number. No greeting. Just coordinates. And a single sentence, "She's still eating last." You close your eyes. Relief doesn't come like joy. It comes like gravity pulling you back into alignment with something real. You don't go to her. That's the hardest choice you make. Instead, you expand what you've been doing. You step away from public work entirely. You fund quietly. Advocate anonymously. You let other faces stand at podiums while you remain off stage. People ask why you disappeared. You say you needed space. It's not a lie, just not the whole truth. 2 years after the live stream, you find yourself standing near that same border again, but on the safe side this time. Dawn stretches thin light across the land. The air smells like dust and cold metal. You don't cross! You don't even step onto the line. You just watch. From far away, you see movement. Dogs, a pack flowing through tall grass. And in the middle, she's leaner now, fur roughened by weather and choice. No collar, no shine. She runs. Free, she slows near the old checkpoint, pauses, looks back, not at you, but at the land she came from. Then she continues forward, disappearing into a place that never needed your permission. You don't wave. You don't call out. You let her go again, this time with understanding. Later, as the sun lifts fully and the border fades into nothing more than dirt and memory, you realize something final. Some rescues aren't about bringing someone home. They're about knowing when you were never meant to be it. The call comes at night. Not a ring, never a ring anymore, just a vibration against wood. You're half asleep on the couch, apartment lights off, city glow leaking in through the blinds like diluted guilt. For a moment, you don't move. You've trained yourself not to jump. Urgency is what gets things broken. You check the screen, no name. Just a voice message. You sit up before it even finishes downloading. The voice is male, older, tired in a way that doesn't come from age alone. "They're clearing the valley," he says. Wind rushes behind his words. "Not tonight. Soon. New development. Roads. Fences." Your fingers curl around the phone. "How soon?" you ask aloud, even though he can't hear you. The message continues. "She moved the pack already. East. But there are pups now. More than before. And one of them injured." The message ends. No instructions. No request. Just information. The most dangerous kind. You don't sleep after that. You pace. Count steps. Stop at the window and stare at a city that doesn't know it's pressing outward, swallowing edges that once belonged to something else. You imagine machinery chewing through dirt paths. Imagine people with clipboards calling it improvement. You imagine her calculating distances, risk, timing. You know what she'll do. She'll stay behind. By morning, you're already in motion. You don't pack this time. You prepare. You make calls that don't trace back to you. You move funds through channels designed for invisibility. You lean on favors you earned by disappearing when others wanted credit. Temporary shelters, mobile vets, quiet ones, the kind that don't post photos. You give instructions without explaining why. Be there for 3 days, you say. If no one comes, you leave. No one argues. They trust your silence. The border feels colder this time. The air presses down, thick with the promise of weather. Clouds hang low, bruised. You stop short of the line again, heart thudding with the familiar knowledge that you are not meant to cross it. Not fully. Movement flickers in the distance. Not the pack. Machines. You swear under your breath. The woman from the cafe finds you before you find her. She looks smaller somehow, drawn tight. "She's already gone," the woman says. Mostly. Mostly. Your voice cracks around the word. "There's one she won't leave," she replies. You don't ask which. You already know. The valley is quieter than before. Too quiet. The paths you remember are scuffed over, trampled by boots and tires. The ruins still stand, but something essential has been disturbed, like a nest after hands have been in it. You hear her before you see her. A low sound. Not a bark. Not a growl, a warning meant for exactly one audience. "You freeze!" She steps into view. Her fur is matted with mud now. A fresh scar cuts pale against her shoulder. She stands between you and a shape curled behind her. A young dog, leg twisted wrong, eyes dull with pain and fever. She doesn't retreat. She doesn't advance. She waits. Your pulse slams against your ribs. You crouch slowly, every movement deliberate. You turn your palms upward, empty. You don't say her name. "I didn't bring cameras," you say quietly. "I didn't bring anyone who stays." Her ears flick. She glances back at the injured dog, then back at you. The calculation happens in real time. You can almost see it. Risk versus outcome, instinct measured against memory. She steps aside. Just enough. The vet arrives at dusk. No uniforms, no logos, just a woman with calm hands and a voice that stays level even when the leg is worse than expected. Infection, old break, pain layered on pain. "She won't survive the move," the vet murmurs. You feel the words land like stones. She might not survive staying either. You don't look at her, you watch the dog instead. The way her breathing stutters. The way her eyes track your former companion with blind trust. "She won't leave," the vet says. "You swallow. I know. Night falls hard. Rain starts without warning, drenching earth and fur and skin. The pack stays hidden, watching from a distance. She stays planted, body curved protectively, rain slicking her coat flat. The vet works by headlamp. You hold light! Hold silence! At some point, you realize your hands are steady. You don't know when that changed. The leg is set, splinted, temporary. Enough. The vet packs up quickly, leaves without ceremony. The woman from the cafe hands you a look heavy with questions she doesn't ask. The rain eases. She noses the injured dog gently. The dog whines. She licks its face once, firm, reassuring. Then she looks at you, really looks, and something in her gaze shifts. Not trust, permission. Your chest tightens. This is the line you didn't want to cross. You know what she's asking. Not to take the dog, not to stay, but to delay the inevitable just long enough. You nod once. "I'll buy you time," you whisper. She turns away immediately, already moving, already reorganizing. She doesn't look back. She never does when it matters most. The next 48 hours burn through you. You coordinate diversions, delays, complaints filed in the right offices, environmental concerns raised by people with clean hands and loud voices, machinery pauses, schedules slip. It's not permanent. You know that. She knows that too. Time is the currency here, and you're almost out. On the third morning, the pack moves. You watch from the ridge as they slip east, shapes dissolving into tall grass and fog. The injured dog limps but moves. She stays at the rear, counting heads, adjusting pace. At the edge of sight, she stops, turns, looks back. At you! This time, you don't look away. You hold her gaze until it burns. She dips her head once, then she runs. The fog closes. And for the first time since the live stream, since the rise and fall and the understanding that followed, you break. You sink to the ground, rain-soaked and shaking, and let the weight of what you almost lost crash through you. Because this was the moment it could have ended. You think buying time will feel like relief. It doesn't. It feels like standing on a shoreline, watching the tide pull back, knowing exactly what comes next, and knowing you can't stop it. Days pass, then weeks. Updates arrive in fragments, always indirect, always cautious. The pack crossed farther east. They're avoiding roads. She's thinner but moving. You catalog each detail like evidence in a case no one else is trying to solve. You adjust funding. Redirect resources, pull strings that fray a little more each time you touch them. You are very aware now that this isn't sustainable. Neither is she. The city doesn't wait for understanding. Development resumes with bureaucratic patience. Fences appear where dirt paths once softened footsteps. Signs go up, bright, official, unreadable to anyone who matters. Progress, they call it. You call it compression. Animals don't disappear when land shrinks. They collide. The second call comes from someone new, a woman this time, breathless, whispering. "They're calling animal control," she says. "People complained. Too many dogs." Your jaw tightens. "Where?" you ask. She hesitates. Gives you a location that feels too close to a school, too close to a road with traffic that doesn't slow. "She's keeping them back," the woman adds. "But they're watching her now." "Of course they are." A calm pack is suspicious. A dog who stands her ground becomes a problem. You arrive at the edge of the zone just before dusk. You don't cross the line, but you don't need to. You see the vans, the uniforms, the casual way people lean against doors. Chatting like this is just another task to check off before dinner. Your pulse pounds unevenly. You watch from behind a stand of scrub as the pack shifts uneasily. They sense it, the imbalance, the wrongness. She moves constantly, redirecting, soothing, pressing bodies together to keep panic from splintering them. You recognize the behavior. You taught her parts of it. The irony tastes bitter. The officers spread out. One lifts a tranquilizer rifle. Your breath stalls. You don't think. You act. The call you make burns a bridge you can't rebuild. You speak to someone who owes you, someone who doesn't ask why your voice is shaking. Regulations are cited, permits questioned, jurisdiction blurred just enough to stall momentum. It's sloppy, desperate, temporary. An officer lowers the rifle, annoyed. "Stand down," someone says into a radio. The pack doesn't scatter. She doesn't run. She holds her ground, eyes locked on the humans, body tense but still. A leader who knows when to push and when not to. The standoff dissolves slowly. Vehicles leave. Voices fade. The air loosens its grip, but the damage is done. She knows now. They've seen her. She's marked. That night, you don't leave. You stay at the boundary, watching shadows move through grass, listening to the pack resettle in fits and starts. The injured dog limps closer to her. She nudges it gently, then positions herself between it and the road. "You feel something cold settle in your gut. This isn't about time anymore. It's about endings." Just before dawn, she approaches the line, not crossing, just close enough that you can see her clearly in the gray light. Scars map her body now, earned, not hidden. Her eyes are older, sharper. She stops, sits, looks straight at you. The space between you hums with everything unsaid. You stand slowly. "I can move them again," you say quietly. "Farther," somewhere quieter. She doesn't move. "I can keep doing this," you add, though even you hear the lie thinning. She lowers her head briefly, then lifts it and shakes it once. "No," your chest tightens. "This isn't stubbornness, it's math. Every move costs lives, energy, trust." At some point, running becomes the danger. She stands, turns sideways, and for the first time since she left you, she shows you something on purpose. She steps just enough for you to see behind her. More dogs than before, new ones, strays drawn in by stability, by safety, by her. A community she didn't plan, but accepted. Your breath leaves you in a slow, painful spill. She isn't protecting a pack anymore. She's protecting a population. The realization hits with brutal clarity. If she keeps leading them, they'll keep finding her. And if they keep finding her, someone will eventually decide she's the problem. You feel the edge of a truth you've been avoiding. Leadership is visible. Sacrifice isn't. She looks back at you one last time. Then she turns and walks away from the group. Alone, your heart stutters. She stops at a distance, looks back, waits. The pack hesitates, confused. She barks once, sharp, final. They stay. She doesn't return. Your throat closes. "No," you whisper. She starts walking. Away from them. Away from you. Into tall grass that swallows shape and sound. Understanding slams into you with enough force to make your knees weaken. She's doing what leaders do when survival demands it. She's removing herself so they can live. You stand there, helpless, as dawn breaks fully and the world pretends this is just another morning. And somewhere out there, she disappears. You don't chase her, not at first. You stand at the borderline, frozen in the thin, brightening light, while your instincts scream at you to run after the small body vanishing into grass. Your hands clench, unclench, unclench. The air tastes metallic, like you've bitten your tongue without noticing. The pack behind you shifts, confused. A few whine softly. The injured young dog tries to limp forward, stops, looks back at the others, as if asking permission to break formation. They don't move. They can't. She taught them that. Stay, live, don't follow the sacrifice into the fire. You swallow hard enough to make your throat ache. Then you turn away from the pack, because if you stay and watch them search for her with their eyes, you'll fall apart in front of them like a weak link. You walk back toward your car. Each step feels like a betrayal. You return the next day, and the next. You come at dawn when the world is quiet enough that you can hear small things, paw steps, birds shifting in reeds, your own breath refusing to settle. You keep your distance from the pack. You watch for her shape in the tall grass. Nothing. On the fourth day, you find a sign she left on purpose, a place where the grass is pressed down in a tight circle like a bed made quickly. A few tufts of her fur caught on a thorn. A faint track leading east. Not random, directional. You follow it the way you learned to follow her as a handler, eyes low, attention sharp, moving only when you're sure. The land here is a patchwork of scrub, abandoned lots, half-built structures that look like they were forgotten mid-thought. You stop when you smell it. Smoke, not recent, not active. Old smoke embedded in walls. Your stomach tightens. You know this smell from the stories you never wanted to read. Improvised camps, burned trash, people living where nobody wants to look. You push through a gap in a fence and enter a shallow basin hidden from the road. And you see it, a camp. Not the kind with tents and neat lines. The kind made of whatever can be scavenged, tarps stretched between broken poles, cardboard layered against wind, a cooking pot blackened by repeated use. Clothes hanging on a wire like surrender flags, and dogs, street dogs, a smaller pack here, tighter, rougher. They don't bark, they just watch. Your heart drums painfully against your ribs because this place feels familiar, not to you, to her. You move slowly, hands visible, careful not to trigger panic. You scan the ground for signs, food scraps, paw prints, anything fresh. Then you hear a sound that stops you, a cough. Thin, human, close. You freeze, a tarp shifts, a child steps out, maybe 9, maybe 10, too small for the way their shoulders carry heaviness. Their hair is uneven, hacked short like someone tried to do it with dull scissors. Their eyes lock onto you with the immediate suspicion of someone who has learned that strangers are never neutral. Behind the child, another figure stirs, an adult, curled under blankets, breathing shallowly. And then, a small dog appears at the child's side like she was summoned by breath alone. Your former companion. Ungroomed, mud-streaked, fur grown wild in uneven patches, ribs faintly visible, no collar, but the eyes, those knowing eyes, they look at you once, and then they look at the child. The child's hand drops automatically to her head, fingers burying into rough fur with a familiarity that makes your chest crack open. Not petting, anchoring. "She's ours," the child says, voice sharp as a snap twig. You don't answer right away. Words feel like the wrong tool here. You crouch slowly, lowering your body to the child's level. You keep distance, you keep respect. "I'm not here to take her," you say. "Your dog doesn't move." The child's gaze flicks to the cameraless emptiness of your hands, to your plain clothes, to the lack of a van, a cage, a leash. Suspicion doesn't fade, but it shifts. "Why are you here?" the child demands. Your mouth goes dry. "Because what do you say? That the world loved her, that the world owned her, that you helped build the cage she escaped. You breathe in smoke and dust." "I followed her, you admit." The child snorts, a sound too old for their face. She lets people follow. Your dog's ears flick, like the child just said something true out loud that wasn't supposed to be said. The adult under the blankets coughs again, wet and deep. The child glances back, worry cutting through hard edges for half a second. The child reaches for a water bottle with barely a sip left, brings it to the adult's mouth carefully. Your dog watches every movement, then looks at you, and the memory hits you like a punch. Her disappearance mid-livestream, the timing, the certainty. She didn't just leave to protect a pack, she left to protect someone the world never knew existed, someone too fragile to survive a swarm of attention, someone who couldn't become content. You notice the small details then, the way your dog positions her body so she blocks the child from your direct line of sight, the way the street dogs in the basin don't challenge her, the way scraps are arranged near the camp like offerings, not accidents. She has been working, not begging, working! Walking the edges of roads with that recognizable face that makes humans soften. Leading kind hands here, leading leftovers here, leading mercy here, using the fame you gave her like a tool she never asked for, a way to feed the invisible. Your throat tightens until swallowing becomes a choice. The child follows your gaze and tightens their grip on her fur. People give her food, the child says, defensive, because she looks clean, like she belongs with someone, so they don't get scared. Your stomach twists. The child continues, quieter now, like it's slipping out even though they don't want it to. She goes and comes back, always comes back, even when it's dangerous. Your dog's eyes flick toward the adult. Then back to you. And suddenly you understand the full shape of her decision. The city life wasn't safety to her, it was captivity. A place where she couldn't do what she considers her only real job, protect the ones who can't protect themselves. The adult shifts, face briefly visible in a slash of light, cheeks sunken, lips cracked. The child wipes the adult's forehead with the corner of a shirt that used to be bright but is now washed into pale sadness. Your dog steps forward, licks the adult's hand once, then retreats to the child's side, pressing her shoulder against their shin. The child exhales shakily. And you hear it? The sound of someone holding in fear for too long. You don't move closer! You don't ask questions! But you know with a sick clarity what would happen if anyone found out this camp existed. Authorities, deportations, separation, rescue. That feels like removal. And your dog? She anticipated all of it. That's why she didn't just vanish into the wilderness. She vanished into the margins, where she can be both ghost and guardian. The child's eyes narrow again. You're going to tell, they accuse. Your dog doesn't growl. She just watches you, waiting. This is the real test. Not whether you can find her, whether you can keep her secret. Your mouth tastes like iron. You shake your head slowly. I won't, you say. The child doesn't believe you yet. But your dog does something that makes your breath catch in a painful, quiet way. She steps forward, close enough that you can see the tiny scars on her muzzle, the grit trapped in the fur around her paws, the exhaustion in the set of her shoulders. She lifts her face and touches her nose to your knee. A single press, then she backs away. The gesture isn't forgiveness, it's a contract. You nod once, throat burning. Okay, you whisper. Show me what you need. Your dog turns toward the basin's edge, then looks back, eyes sharp, instructive. Not follow me home, not bring me back, just follow quietly. And you do, because now you know the secret she disappeared to protect. And you know the next part of the story won't be about finding her. It will be about learning to help without ever being seen. You don't stay long. That's the first rule you learn. Staying makes patterns. Patterns make attention. Attention destroys everything she's built. So you observe, you listen, you memorize, you learn the rhythm of the camp without ever stepping into its center, where food appears, when it's safest to move, which sounds mean danger and which mean nothing at all. You learn how the child counts breaths when the adult coughs too hard, how your dog positions herself so she can see the road and the camp at the same time. You learn that she leaves at dawn, every day, always alone. She walks the outskirts of nearby towns with a confidence that makes people soften without realizing why. She approaches open markets, not dumpsters, bakery doors, not alleys. She sits, waits, tilts her head just enough to look familiar but not needy. People smile. Someone always drops something. She takes only what she can carry, never more. You watch this from places you shouldn't exist, inside parked cars, behind half walls, through gaps in fencing. You understand now how carefully she calibrated her disappearance. How the world remembers her just enough to help, but not enough to hunt. Fame diluted in the usefulness. You don't bring supplies directly. That would draw lines straight to the camp. Instead, you do what she taught you to do. Indirect, distributed, invisible. You seed kindness. You fund a soup kitchen 2 towns over, then quietly ensure leftovers get packed instead of tossed. You pay a clinic to offer walk-in days with no questions asked. You convince a driver to reroute once a week, dropping off food near a drainage ditch without ever knowing why. You become a shadow working alongside a dog who mastered shadows long before you did. Weeks pass, then months. The adult's cough eases, not gone, but lighter. The vet you arrange under layers of plausible coincidence shows up one afternoon pretending to be lost. Medicine changes hands without names attached. The child starts sleeping through the night. Your dog notices before you do. She relaxes a fraction. The tension along her shoulder softens. She spends less time pacing, more time lying close enough that the child's foot rests against her ribs when they sleep. Safety doesn't look like celebration. It looks like rest. You never touch her again, not because you don't want to, because you understand what touch would mean. It would pull her backward into a story she fought her way out of. Instead, you communicate in distance. A nod, a pause. A shared understanding carried in the way you both watch the horizon. You stop calling her yours in your head. You start thinking of her as herself. One afternoon, you realize something else has changed. The other street dogs, they're calmer now, less frantic, less drawn to roads. Your dog's absence from the center has forced something new to grow, distributed leadership. No single figure to remove, no focal point to target. She didn't just sacrifice herself, she redesigned survival. Your chest tightens with something like pride and something heavier, the knowledge that this is what real intelligence looks like when it isn't dressed up for human approval. The world continues not knowing. Articles still circulate sometimes. Whatever happened to, posts resurface. You never engage, never correct, never reveal. You let the myth rot gently on the vine, because truth, here, is fragile, and fame is a predator. The last time you see her up close, you don't realize it will be the last. It's morning, cold enough that breath shows. She's just returned from a run, fur damp with dew. She stops a few feet from you, closer than usual. The child laughs at something behind her. The adult hums, off-key but alive. Your dog looks at you, longer than she ever has since the contract was made. You sense it before you understand it. The closing of a loop. She steps forward. Not to touch, just close enough that you can smell dust and smoke and the faint trace of bread. She lowers herself to the ground. Lies down. Exposes her side, not in submission, but in completion. Your breath goes shallow. This isn't a request. It's a goodbye disguised as rest. You don't speak. You sit there with her in the quiet, letting the moments settle into your bones. After a while, she stands, turns, walks back toward the camp. She doesn't look back this time, and you don't need her to. You leave the border region a week later. You dismantle what little structure still points back to you. Funds rerouted, contacts disconnected, trails erased. You trust what she's built to continue without you. The city greets you like nothing happened. You accept that too. Years pass. You live smaller now. Quieter, you work behind other names. You choose obscurity on purpose. Sometimes, late at night, you catch yourself smiling at nothing. At the thought of a small dog with knowing eyes, ungroomed and free, turning human attention into food and safety for people the world never bothered to see. You understand, finally, what she tried to teach you. Rescue isn't ownership, love isn't control, and the bravest sacrifices don't announce themselves. They disappear. You stop looking for her. Not suddenly, not cleanly. It happens the way habits fade. One missed dawn, then another. One morning when you realize you didn't wake with the old reflex tightening your chest, the world feels no different for it. That's how you know it's real. You've learned the shape of absence by now. It isn't empty, it's spacious. Years later, you find yourself near another border. Different country, different language painted on signs. Same kind of place, where lines on maps dissolve into dirt paths and shared air. You're here for something ordinary, a meeting, a favor repaid, nothing that carries weight. Dawn catches you off guard. You stop walking, because ahead of you, the land opens the same way it did before. Wide, quiet, undecided. The light is thin and forgiving. Grass bends under a breeze that doesn't care who belongs where. And then, movement. A small shape breaks from shadow. Your heart stutters, uninvited. You tell yourself it's coincidence, that you've trained your eyes to see her everywhere, that grief is a clever liar. But the dog runs closer, not toward you, across the open stretch, ungroomed, lean, fur marked by weather and choice. Her gait is familiar in a way that bypasses thought and goes straight to bone. She doesn't slow, she doesn't look back. She crosses an unmanned checkpoint at dawn like it's nothing more than a crack in the earth. And on the far side, she disappears into a pack. Street dogs rise to greet her, not chaotic, not desperate, purposeful. They move around her naturally, accepting her presence without ceremony. One nudges her shoulder, another falls in beside her. She fits perfectly. She pauses once, just once, turns her head, not toward you exactly, but toward the direction you're standing, toward the past, toward everything she shed to become this. The light catches her eyes, calm, clear, finally unburdened. Then she turns away. And that's it. No music, no swell, no final look meant for memory. Just a dog running free into the life she chose. You don't cry, you exhale. Long, slow, like someone setting down a weight they forgot they were still carrying. You realize then that peace doesn't arrive with permission. It doesn't ask to be witnessed or validated or shared. It just settles quietly when something ends exactly the way it's supposed to. Later, when people ask if you ever rescued another dog, you smile and say no. You say you learned something important once, that not every story needs a hero who stays, that some love is proven by leaving no trace, that the bravest souls don't rise forever, they rise just long enough. Then they fall, not into tragedy but into truth. That night, far from borders and names and cameras, you dream of running, not away, not toward, just running. And when you wake, the feeling lingers not as loss but as gratitude. Because somewhere in the world, a small mixed-breed dog with knowing eyes is alive, unnamed, ungroomed, and exactly where she belongs, finally at peace.